The Nothing Phone 4a Pro has officially ditched the full transparent back, or at least most of it. It, however, keeps its futuristic and for some, polarizing aesthetic. It has a new unibody aluminium build and it's ready to go head-to-head with the Pixel 10a, iPhone 17e, and Galaxy S25 FE, all priced at around $500. We'll take a deep dive into the design, display, battery, performance, and cameras to see if the Phone 4a Pro is a must-buy or if it's just good for nothing. Hey, I'm Olive, your host here at Versus.com, and remember that you can join our community by hitting the join button below for exclusive videos and perks. Here's a special shout out to Erdem, Dinosaur, Yavuz, Daniel, Afrobusk, Paris, Joa, Jade Starking, Samuel TV, Topi Gamer, and Yuji for becoming Ultra members. This might be a hot take, but we think that the Nothing Phone 4a Pro looks more premium than the flagship Nothing Phone 3. It keeps the futuristic glyph matrix, but this is larger and the transparent area looks way more balanced. Size-wise, the 4a Pro is a hair bigger than the Galaxy S25 FE, while the Pixel and the iPhone are significantly more compact. These two are kinda the antithesis of the Nothing leaning into minimalism. The Pixel, for instance, has a back that's 100% flush. In terms of materials, the Nothing features that aluminium unibody that we mentioned earlier, while the others only use metal for the frame. The Pixel's back is plastic, the iPhone uses glass, and the Galaxy is rocking Gorilla Glass Victus Plus. When it comes to weight, the iPhone is only 5.9 ounces, while the Nothing is the beefiest one at 7.5 ounces. For protection, all offer IP68 except for the Nothing, which only has IP65. This is a slight improvement compared to the Phone 3a Pro, but it's still not submersible in water. Now, time to check out the displays. The Nothing carries the biggest panel in this lineup, a 6.9-inch AMOLED, followed by the Galaxy and its 6.7-inch LTPO AMOLED screen. The Pixel comes in next with a 6.3-inch POLED display. The iPhone has the smallest footprint, a 6.1-inch OLED. Nothing supports up to 144 Hz, while the Pixel and the Galaxy can hit 120 Hz. The iPhone, only 60 Hz. In our typical high brightness test, where we simulate direct sunlight at over 100,000 lux, the Pixel skyrocketed to 2,401 nits. It also took the crown for peak brightness, hitting a massive 3,477 nits. For security, the iPhone relies on Apple's Face ID, while the rest use under-display optical fingerprint scanners. You do get Face Unlock on the others, but it won't work in the dark since these phones lack 3D scanning sensors. Now feel free to pause the video right here for even more info on screen specs. Choosing the best display really comes down to your priorities. The Nothing offers the biggest screen and a 144 Hz refresh rate, but those 5,000 nits of brightness are just marketing. The Pixel gets insanely bright, but those bezels are really tough to ignore. The Galaxy is a solid middle ground with a large panel, LTPO tech, and very respectable brightness. As for the iPhone, its panel just feels dim and dated in 2026. But the multimedia experience is nothing without great audio, so let's put these speakers to the test. You're going to find a set of stereo speakers on each one of these phones. Here's a quick audio sample for you. Just keep in mind that recorded speaker audio usually differs from what you'll hear in person.
I'm a little too into you. Got my head over my shoes, but I like it. I'm a little too into you. Got me up over the moon, but I like it. I'm counting colors in your eyes. I'm losing track of all my time. It's like I'm high. Tried not to slip into your blue, but I've been slipping into you. The floor is ice.
So, after giving them a listen here in the studio, the compact iPhone actually packs the best bass and audio definition. The Pixel takes second place, while the Galaxy is far quieter. The Nothing has pretty weak speakers considering its larger footprint. By the way, we know a ton of you are watching, but you haven't joined the Versus gang yet. So if you are enjoying our review, consider hitting that subscribe button. Also, if you are hunting for a deal on any of these devices, you can find links in the description below. Now it's time to check out these cameras. For the main shooters, we're looking at 48 megapixels on the Pixel and the iPhone and 50 megapixels on the Nothing and the Galaxy. The iPhone offers the widest aperture while the Nothing packs the largest sensor. All four phones deliver solid detail and great dynamic range control. Shadows are sometimes more lifted on the Nothing, but it's very situational. For example, indoors, it can make photos look a bit flat, whereas the other three preserve more realistic shadows. On the ultra-wide front, the Nothing comes with just an 8 megapixel sensor. The Galaxy has a 12 megapixel cam and the Pixel hits 13 megapixels. The iPhone, it has hopes and dreams. First off, these are the kind of shots you're missing out on with the single lens iPhone. Among the rest, thanks to some processing magic, the Nothing actually looks the sharpest in well-lit scenes. But indoors, it suffers from that same aggressive shadow lifting that we saw earlier, though some of you might actually like that look. For zoom, only the Nothing and the Galaxy bring telephotos to the party. The Galaxy offers an 8 megapixel telephoto with 3 times optical, while Nothing goes big with a 50 megapixel periscope telephoto at 3.5 times optical. The beefier hardware on the Nothing gives it a massive lead here with way more detail at optical levels. For digital zoom, the Pixel tops out at 8 times and the iPhone at 10 times. Anything beyond that is an automatic win for Nothing. Just keep in mind it uses AI to reconstruct detail. It can comically hit 140 times zoom, though we're not sure who actually needs that. For portrait shots on the main sensor, the Pixel crops in 1.5 times for some reason. Here, both the Nothing and the iPhone perform the best. However, thanks to their extra cams, the Nothing and the Galaxy let you take zoomed portraits. The others are stuck at 2 times digital zoom. If you pixel peep, you'll see the edge detection on the Nothing is nothing but amazing. Moving to video, you can film up to 4K 30 FPS on the Nothing, while the Pixel and the iPhone hit 4K 60 FPS. The Galaxy goes all the way to a massive 8K 30 FPS. That said, we always film all of our samples at 4K 30 FPS. Video is still the iPhone's kingdom with elite stabilization and snappy dynamic range. The Nothing's lens looks pretty bouncy inside the module, while the Pixel looks smudged and washed out. The Galaxy is actually quite good, though it could be faster at adjusting to lighting changes. If you're into cinematic blur for video, only the Galaxy offers a dedicated portrait video mode at 4K 30 FPS. For ultra-wide video, resolution takes a hit across the board. The Nothing drops to 1080p 60 FPS, while the Pixel and the Galaxy maintain 4K 30 FPS. The iPhone once again has absolutely nada. Quality also tanks on the 3 that do support it. All of them look pretty flat in the shadows, and the dynamic range isn't nearly as wide as the main sensors. The Galaxy is the only one that's really salvageable here. Now let's flip these around like French toast and check out the front cameras. Here, the iPhone and Galaxy offer 12 megapixels, the Pixel 13, and the Nothing a beefier 32 megapixels. These all perform great with solid color management in good lighting. In the dark, the Pixel and the Galaxy stick to natural tones, while the Nothing and the iPhone tone down the blues for a more aesthetic look. For video, Nothing falls behind at just 1080p 60 FPS, the rest hit 4K, but the Pixel is capped at 30 FPS while the other two can reach 60 FPS. The Galaxy looks blurry since it lacks autofocus. The Nothing is way too over-sharpened, and the Pixel is super smooth. The iPhone is the winner for video once again.
Alright, now let's test the microphones on all of these 4 devices. Let's start with the Nothing phone. How is it handling this noise in here? Then we have the Pixel phone. There's quite some people passing around, as you can see, and some traffic. Then we have the iPhone. There's some cars now. Is it canceling that noise correctly? And then at the end we have the Samsung. How is it handling all of this noise in this scene? Let's talk about it.
Regarding recorded audio, the only one that cancels background noise effectively is the Pixel. The other 3 just let the world creep into your clips. But now it is time to kill the lights. With the main cameras, the Nothing and the Pixel definitely capture that night vibe the best, but the Nothing is cleaner overall. On the ultra-wides, none is perfect. The Pixel and the Galaxy do grab the most shadow detail, but the Nothing has better definition and handles light flare from lamps the best. For portraits, nothing is the clear winner, and the iPhone failed to add any blur at all. With the telephotos, neither the Nothing nor Galaxy make miracles. If you're shooting in the dark, you better grab a tripod. For main camera video, the Nothing and the Galaxy are your best bets. It's hard to see, but the Nothing still has that jitter that we saw before, making the Galaxy the overall winner. And finally, for ultra-wide video, quality basically tanks. If you just need to see what's going on in the scene, the Pixel and the Galaxy do it best. So the Nothing phone comes with a great main camera, a very meh ultra-wide, and an impressive telephoto. For photos, it's really not bad at all, but video is still its Achilles heel. Nothing hasn't found a solution for that shakiness we have also seen in other models. Plus, 1080p resolution is super low in 2026. If you want the best all-rounder, the Galaxy is your best bet here. But enough about cameras, let's check out the performance. As captains, we have a Snapdragon 7 Gen 4 on the Nothing, a Tensor G4 on the Pixel, the Apple A19 on the iPhone, and an Exynos 2400 on the Galaxy. All models come with 8GB of RAM, but the Nothing also offers a 12GB version, which is actually our test unit. The Nothing and the Galaxy both have virtual RAM enabled by default, but we strongly recommend toggling it off. It adds unnecessary wear to your storage, and it's significantly slower than physical RAM. Here's a quick breakdown of the storage configurations, types, and USB standards. Now, to really see what these phones can do, we threw them into some real-world testing, starting with gaming. We ran 15-minute sessions with cooldown time in between. As you can see, the Pixel couldn't even launch Grid Legends due to chipset incompatibilities. The rest topped out at 30 FPS in graphics mode, but the iPhone dipped to 25 FPS while the others remained stable. In terms of thermals, everything stayed in check. Next, we fired up Withering Waves and cranked the settings to the max. Ironically, the Pixel held up the best here, while the Galaxy really started to struggle. For temps, the Nothing phone got hot like Chipotle sauce. Moving away from gaming, we exported 99 photos in Lightroom. The iPhone smoked the competition, crossing the finish line in 4 minutes and 45 seconds, while the Pixel took over 9 minutes. We saw a similar story in CapCut, rendering a 1-minute 4K 30 FPS video. Everyone finished in under a minute, but the iPhone led the pack while the Pixel trailed in last. But now, let's check out some benchmarks. In Geekbench 6, the iPhone squeezed the most raw power out of its silicon in both single and multi-core tests. And for once, the Pixel didn't finish last. This time, it was the Nothing. In 3D Mark's Wildlife Extreme Stress Test, the Galaxy showed the best peak graphics performance. But its lowest loop was actually overtaken by the iPhone. The Nothing remained at the bottom in this test. AnTuTu scores aren't directly comparable between Android and iOS, so use these as a reference. That said, looking at the Android side, the Galaxy took a massive lead while the Nothing finished last for the 3rd time. So even with these huge gaps in benchmarks, it just proves that these numbers don't always tell the whole story. In our real-world tests, all 4 performed very similarly. It's true that for photo and video work, the iPhone, it just takes the lead, while the Nothing and the Pixel were the best at gaming. However, the margins aren't massive. One thing to keep in mind is game compatibility. iOS still gets more high-end titles, and the Tensor chip can be hit or miss with some games. And since we're talking about the user experience, let's talk software. Here we're looking at Nothing OS 4.1, the Pixel UI, iOS 26, and One UI 8. The Android trio is running Android 16, while the iPhone is on version 26.4.1. Nothing is only promising 3 years of OS updates and 6 years of security patches, whereas the other 3 give you a full 7 years of both. The look of Nothing OS is easily one of our favorites because it doesn't try to clone iOS like so many other brands. You also get useful AI baked in, like the Essential Space, which is accessible via the Essential key. You can log thoughts through screenshots or voice notes, and the AI will suggest relevant actions. Plus, there's the Glyph interface for timers, volume, and personalized light notifications. You can even download Glyph toys to make that matrix more functional and hit up the new playground to vibe code your own custom widgets. The Pixel also puts AI front and center, but with a much more playful interface. interface. Since it's Google, you're getting tons of AI utilities: Studio, AI wallpapers and icons, Circle to Search, plus Gemini at the core. While Nothing OS is great, the Pixel experience feels a bit more unified and is a total joy for daily use. The iPhone is, well, an iPhone. It features the liquid glass interface, which continues to evolve with every single update. Personalization is deeper than ever, and as we mentioned, this is where you will find the most professional apps and that seamless Apple ecosystem integration. That said, Apple Intelligence remains a bit of a weak point, as the rollout has been pretty rocky since day one. Lastly, we have One UI 8. We're still waiting on the 8.5 update, but you've still got endless customization thanks to Samsung's Good Lock module. You can tweak everything from deep camera settings to the look of your keyboard. You'll also find Circle to Search and Gemini here, alongside Samsung's own AI tools for summarizing articles, writing assistants, and photo editing. But how many hours of juice will these actually give you? Well, let's find out. When it comes to battery capacity, the compact Pixel surprisingly packs the largest cell at 5,100 mAh. The Nothing takes the lead for wired charging speeds, while the iPhone and the Galaxy are neck and neck for wireless charging. The Nothing doesn't support wireless charging at all. Only the Galaxy offers true reverse wireless charging. The iPhone technically supports it, but it's restricted to Apple's own power banks. To test real-world endurance, we calibrated all screens to 500 nits and disabled all battery-saving features. We then ran our 9-app loop, which includes social media scrolling, 4K video recording, web browsing, navigation, gaming, video and music streaming, plus video calling, and a bit more video recording and gaming. The results were impressive, but the Galaxy was the first to tap out at 9 hours and 5 minutes. Next was the Nothing at 10 hours and 38 minutes, and just 10 minutes later, the iPhone said Auf Wiedersehen. That leaves the Pixel as the battery king with a massive 11 hours and 16 minutes. To bring them back to life, we used a 100 watts charging brick. Both the Nothing and the Galaxy were back on their feet in exactly 1 hour and 5 minutes, peaking at over 40 watts. Next was the Pixel at 1 hour and 24 minutes, topping at 28 watts. The iPhone finished 3 minutes later, maxing out at 25 watts. This is the moment of truth for Nothing and that $499 price tag, because the Pixel is also exactly $499. The iPhone climbs to $599, and while the Galaxy's full retail price is $649, it can currently be found for $499. That makes the Nothing, Pixel, and the Galaxy $100 cheaper than the iPhone, which is cash you could use to buy about 28 boxes of Scooby snacks. So, should you get the Nothing Phone 4a Pro? We'd say yes, but you've got to be okay with its shortcomings. As we saw, the video quality is a bit behind, there's no wireless charging, and you get a shorter software support window. On the flip side, the phone is a massive conversation starter, and Nothing OS offers a vibe you just can't get anywhere else. If you need a phone that can do a bit of everything, even if it's not the absolute best in every single category, the Galaxy is a seriously appealing option, especially if you can snag it at that $499 sale price. Just don't expect to turn any heads when you pull it out of your pocket. The iPhone and the Pixel are targeted at users who don't prioritize a versatile camera array. Both are objectively solid devices, but since we all want the most bang for our buck, the Pixel takes the win here. It gives you a smoother software experience, a ton of AI smarts, and capable cameras. That leaves the iPhone in last place, hampered by that single camera, an outdated display, and a higher price tag. So do you agree with our ranking? Which of these fits your daily grind the best? Definitely let us know in the comments below. If you want to see how the base flagships from Google, Apple, and Samsung stack up, tap this video popping up in the corner of your screen right now. Oh, and before YouTube serves you another random recommendation from 10 years ago, don't forget to give us a big thumbs up if you enjoyed the video and hit subscribe, because we're always testing the latest tech to help you make the best choice. We'll see you in our next video, and until then, take care.